Oh.
Yo, we recorded? Yo, leave that
Oh,
shit.
God.
Put that shit. That has to
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. Just kidding, this way. Nope, I'm not right again.
No,
this
you're
way.
right. No, you had it right. You had it right.
Right? This way. It's Dario Albuquerque. I refuse to get it. I refuse to get it right. I do it on principle now. No.
So
Off camera. It's the Fairy Pod Mother, Lindsay Lehman. What's up? How are we doing today?
Been better.
I'm doing
Been
pretty
better. Yikes.
I'm doing pretty good.
So, Lindsay, I'm just gonna let you start. Why been better? That was easy.
Well, because they didn't lose in 5 games and then they lost in 7 games, the Clippers. So that's why I've been better.
You've been better. So
Yeah.
I would like to talk about this series because first of all, at the beginning of the series, before this game 7 that we're watching right here, like in games 1 through, what'd you said, Lynn? 5?
Yeah, no
5
4.
games? So let's say games 1 through 5 though, for the sake of saying it, right? Clippers took a 3-1 lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
They take a 3-1 lead, and I'm pretty sure the games are like they won them soundly. Yeah. 120-97 in game 1. Nuggets take game 2. 113-107 game 3. And then 96-85. Nuggets putting up 85 points. After this game, people were pretty confident that Clippers were taking it. Also, like the Nuggets, we were talking about it. The Nuggets looked tired to start the series after their 3-1 comeback.
Yeah.
To the Jazz, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they had just came from a 7-game series, so they
exactly.
If anyone's gonna be tired, it was them.
Yeah.
So,
and then game 5, Nuggets win. But this is really where it gets interesting, are these last 2 games.
I thought it was pretty interesting the last 3 games, if I'm being quite honest. Because the last 3 games, they were all like second half, just failures.
All right, well, let's look at them.
They blew double-digit leads in every single game.
So we're looking at just the first half numbers. 44-56. Clippers up 12 at the half. This looks great, right? Kawhi, Paul George, efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll go to the second half. Jokic, 13 and 10 in the second half with almost 5 assists in 20 minutes. Their efficiency goes down the shitter.
Yeah.
Completely. And when I take it further into the fourth quarter, it gets even worse.
Yep.
I don't know. So Kawhi definitely we could talk about him for games 6 and 7. I don't know if I'm.
So here's my thing.
I wouldn't put it on him in game 5.
Yeah.
He definitely.
Here's my thing with game 5. If you watch the big run that Denver went on to get ahead in game 5, Kawhi was on the bench for most of it. I believe it was either the end of the 3rd or the beginning of the 4th. I can't recall, but I just remember Kawhi being on the bench for like the whole run.
Yeah.
If I click it here, I'll probably get it.
But
yeah, they're up 10 at this point. We'll keep the highlights on. Talk about it.
Yeah. So before anything, I'd like to congratulate the Nuggets because I've seen everyone in the last 2 days just blamed us on the Clippers and totally disregard.
Trust me, I have a lot of praise to heap on the Nuggets at some point.
Yeah. I just want to say 2 things. That one, it's incredible that they came back from down 3-1 2 straight series. Yeah, that's obviously insane
in this environment too. That's the other thing. Like
this is I don't care what anybody says. This is one of the hardest, and the Clippers, if anything, prove this. That this is the hardest environment to win in, because no lead is safe. The Clippers had double-digit leads every single one of those games, and they blew them. And it was because teams you don't have a crowd to amp you up and kind of throw other teams off. Like the crowd factors a lot when it comes to the whole game. Like when people say it's a game of runs, like usually if the Clippers would have went on a 15-point run or something like that, and like at LA, these Nuggets would have probably been toast. You know, like
it was 53-67 a second ago, midway through the third quarter. I'm stopping it here for a second.
Yeah.
So they were up 14.
Imagine that being in LA. Like that's you almost could just coast the rest of the way. And I feel like that's what that's like another reason why this bubble shows that I think it's always gonna be the better team wins. Unless barring injury, the better team is always gonna win. And
I think it's the more unified team is always gonna win more than the better team.
Well, unified. When we're talking about teams,
I'm saying like the better team chemistry.
But that's to me, that's the better team.
Oh, I don't know. To me, it's 2 different things. But it's more like because I'd say the Clippers had quote unquote more talent, but they didn't. But they weren't the better. Like I guess I get what you're saying. But for me, I look at it as just like the teams with the most chemistry will outweigh the talent in this environment. Also because when they leave the court, again, I'm going to say it. I've said this a bunch on the show. They're not going home. They're going back. Dwight Howard. I just saw Dwight Howard talk to a reporter today, and he said, "The bubble's been very difficult on me. I'm pretty
sure this is it right now. Sorry to interrupt you, but you see how they're coming back right now?
Yeah.
And at no point in this run does Doc Rivers stop the run from happening and put Kawhi in until they're like beating them.
Yeah. But no, it's very mentally taxing on the athletes, which makes it stuff like this twice as hard to deal with mentally when you're being basically in the process of being come back on, which is what makes what happened in the next 2 games.
But don't you?
They never got this lead back, right?
Wouldn't you say Wouldn't you say that mental toughness is what makes legends great? Like if we look at all
I think that's super unfair because I don't think any legend ever has played in this environment.
Well, we're seeing one of them in LeBron, and he's looking pretty normal.
Yeah, but I don't even think he's looking that normal. He also stormed out of a room and was.
Well, I'm talking about on the court. If we're talking about,
it all matters in this bubble. This is my point. Like all this stuff that's never usually part of the game. It's never usually part of the game. Becomes part of the game because you never leave this environment. That's a totally different thing for me. I think that's the number one thing that's fucking with people in the bubble, and is what makes a team like the Clippers in Game 7 look like they're visibly giving up. Which, when we go back to the Game 7 highlights or lowlights, depending on how you look at it.
Low. It was all lowlights.
My thing is, I think if this was a Game 7 at LA, if let's say the bubble wasn't here and the same thing happened, I think the same result was going to happen. And let me explain why. This Clipper team has been known front runners. This is not, and I know we've texted about this, and my best way to explain it is tone at the top. It's as simple as that. It's tone at the top. And the reason this team has become a front-running team and with no balls or cojones is because of the way they were led by partially one person, but it's not full. I'm not gonna blame Kawhi fully on this, but the only reason I blame Kawhi is because of the culture he created. Pretty much, he created this team. If you look at this Clipper team last year versus this year, the big difference is they were underdogs last year. This year they were clear favorites, or clear favorites in most people's mind. For this show, 2 out of 3 people felt like the Clippers were going to win it all, right?
Yes.
So my thing with this is, and I don't know I don't think it is definitely not something he tried to create. It's just something that he was bringing over from the Spurs, from what he learned in the Spurs. Greg Popovich is the person who created load management, really. Like, in terms of like consistently doing it with all of his players. Greg Popovich did that with Tim Duncan throughout the end of his career. He did it with Manu, he did it with Tony, and he did it with Kawhi. And Kawhi, he got used to that, but then he also, I think he might have been like with that injury kind of made him feel like he has to load manage more now because he doesn't want that to happen again. He doesn't want to get another serious injury, which is understandable. He went to Toronto. He made that work in their
doing the same thing, mind you. He was doing the same load management. He only played I want to say in the 60s.
I feel like we would be questioning load management less, but I feel like it's hard to question load management because it's not like he load managed through a regular season. Like season got disrupted, and then when they got to the bubble, there's like the whole team's been like missing half the time. I know,
he load managed in the regular. There's no doubt about it that he was.
He did the same thing he was trying to do from the year before. He was trying to repeat what it was already successful.
Yeah, but what he did in the year before was he got, for one, he didn't choose to do that. He got traded. So, and then two,
he did choose to load manage, definitely.
Yes, for sure. But he had the power because the team wanted him to stay. So they were going to do anything that he wanted in order to stay. And he saw that worked. But the whole thing is that team had a core of people who had already played together, like a good amount. So it's just Kawhi having to be the piece to figure things out, which he could because he's a great player. That's fine.
And he was the missing piece for that system because they just needed the guy to do
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I said this 2 months ago, and I'm saying it again. I don't know if he would have won a championship if Golden State didn't get injured. I don't care at this point. It doesn't matter. Because what I wanted him to do was prove to me that he could this year. He didn't, but he proved to me that he's a great player. Yeah. And that's no doubt.
I think that's the most interesting part of this whole thing, because despite the fact that you were right about his team, you still ultimately gained respect for him, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, because I saw him dogging people throughout.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and I to me, I'm not gonna totally just shit on him for losing a series. Yes, this is bad on him, and I want to break it down why to me it more blame should be put on him, but for indirect reasons, not because of his game. It's with LeBron, a lot of it was in Dallas. He choked. He clearly choked. He clearly didn't do anything. I don't think Kawhi did that here. I think
he was just gassed by the end of the 7th game.
Yeah, but I think the culture he created is the reason they got into this position, and it's because if you think about it, how many times has this Clippers team played with each other? Before this point,
when they were healthy, they played 12 games together.
12 games together out of a whole NBA season. You telling me if this Clippers team played 50 games together, that a lot of those issues that were happening where they started to a lot of it was just iso ball. Iso ball is something that you usually do when you feel like you can't figure it out with these other people. So I'm gonna do it myself to make sure that we win this game. That's what iso ball does, and it just creates hero ball.
Well, not always. The Warriors had to do it when they were in the playoffs.
Yeah, but
that happens a lot in the postseason, more often than.
Yeah, but the iso ball happened with the Warriors towards the end of games. Like they were doing it in the middle of games because they couldn't figure it out. Like usually what the Warriors did and what most great teams do is they'll run their system probably until the 5 to 2 minute mark of the fourth quarter. And then at that point it's just our star lead us to victory. Yeah. It happens all the time. Miami did it. Kobe and Shaq did it. Tim Duncan and the Spurs did it. Like it just happens. It just happens that way. I don't know why. That's just a normal thing. But so I feel like people like, and all the whole thing is the whole team, including the coaches, said it was a chemistry issue. Mm. And what caused the chemistry issue? Like it's like we're just totally, we can't bypass the fact that load management was the reason.
Yeah, but it wasn't only him that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is, I think it was gonna happen if the season would have, if the season, and I can't prove this obviously because it doesn't matter anymore. But the season they would have lost no matter what, to me, and it's not because of like my hate for Kawhi. I don't hate Kawhi. I just think that when you were putting them against the other competition, they had less chemistry and not that much greater talent. Like to me, going against the Lakers, I felt like that no matter what, they were going to lose to the Lakers, and that's my personal opinion. But they just lost earlier than what. Like I feel like this was going to be the same issue we would have talked about next round if they would have won this round. Like the Lakers would have won in 6, and we would have been talking about. I would have been talking about load management again, because I feel like load management is what held them back, because they clearly had the talent to be a great team.
The only reason I'm disagreeing with load management being the main reason is because the NBA season that they were load managing for got disrupted for like months. And then they came back, and then they still had issues of getting people in the bubble, people staying in the bubble, people staying healthy in their lineup. I don't think, like, load management definitely didn't help with getting their chemistry through the regular season, but I feel like blaming all of it on load management is just a bit much.
Hold on. Because this is a great segue, because I would really like to segue this now, because if I feel like I'm not going to get a better opportunity to do so. So, do we think it's all Kawhi Leonard's or culture that he created, or do we think that
Doc Rivers?
It's something that has something to do with this. There is the
culture created, or the
culture created, because I would say, let's see, these are all during his time in LA, right?
Yeah.
I'd say he was a big reason why Kawhi wanted to go there, because Doc is known as a player's coach, and much to your point, would allow him to do some of the things that he liked to do load management wise. And I think that if they had a guy who where'd that damn picture go? Get back up here, Doc Rivers. If they had a guy who would be more on those guys' asses, because you saw him at the end of Game 7. He's looking at them like, come on, let's go. And you're looking at Doc Rivers like, come on, man. Yeah. Like, everything about that seemed disingenuous. And it was just like, I like Doc Rivers as a person. I love the stuff that he's had to say on, the social injustices that's been going on. But as a coach, he's got a track record.
Yeah,
so
you have to question him.
On that note, I thought we'd do a little mini legacy breakdown of Mr. Doc Rivers.
Yeah, just to break down real quick. So, because I wrote down what I thought in terms of percentages of who to blame.
Okay.
I guess.
Percentages?
So, yeah. So I gave Doc a good 25 to 30% of the blame.
Okay.
So that's a pretty decent chunk. It's at least almost I'll give him more 30.
Okay.
I'm giving Kawhi directly just his game 10% of the blame in terms of just because and to me 1 through 5 games 1 through 5 he played incredible. In games 6 and 7 though I feel like he definitely didn't he didn't live up to his standards in terms of how he played the games in the second halves. And I think the second halves mean significantly more than first halves, obviously. Just based off of my breakdown of what I think is most important, which is the last 2 minutes of the game. So I'm giving him a 10% like blame. So I'm blaming half of this whole thing on load management. And in that load management piece, Kawhi indirectly takes like 30% of that blame to me. But so in reality, it's more like 40 Kawhi, but it's not because of his game. It's more because of the other shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and for the other 20, I'm giving it to Doc because he should have controlled this shit. Because at the end of the day,
so wait, you gave 30, then 20 to Doc. So you gave 30%, then 20% to Doc. So now he's got 50.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping up with your bullshit math.
No. So yeah. So Doc's the true like my main issue in general is the load management piece. I think if load management wasn't there, none of this shit. Well, most likely none of this shit would have happened. The only thing is Doc's coaching. That's why Doc gets 30% of the blame, because I think no matter if load management wasn't there and he was coaching like this, it would have been very difficult for them to win in a closer series, like in a series where talents were equal. Like it's much harder when you have your coach not making the right plays, or not making the right calls and not making the right moves.
Yeah.
So that's why I would just put a majority of the percentage on Doc, because you could just see him in those games just making weird decisions, like leaving Lou Williams and Trez in while the Nuggets were going on runs in like 6 and 7, even though Lou Williams, he's great when he's shooting well, but he hasn't been shooting well the whole bubble.
Yeah. But my whole thing is you cannot say the Clippers players were exhausted, because
I'm not saying that they were exhausted. They were saying that they were exhausted.
Yeah. So
that's my point.
So were you not?
My point again, and I believe that goes to coaching more than anything. Like
that's on the players to make sure that they're fit and ready. Like we're not blaming if LeBron's tired.
Yeah, but that's also based on like the environment that you create. Like people go to the Heat because they know that the Heat are like
when LeBron gets to the gym in the fucking bubble to practice, it's gonna be hard for the next 2 weeks. That's why when fucking Miami gets to the gym to practice, there's fucking intensity. Like there's a reason why these teams have that shit, and it's because that I think is the biggest reason why they struggle in the bubble. Hey, that rhymes. But I think with the lack of intensity and their, like, when you combine the continuity issues with the lack of intensity and no one there to give them a real spark besides Patrick Beverley, who's really just giving them not necessarily a positive spark, but really like a negative spark. Like he's not hyping up the team like positively. He's like a negative guy. He's making fun of other people. Like he's shitting on Damian Lillard at the free throw line.
KG did similar shit though. Like the person we're gonna credit a little later for Doc's championship, he did the same shit. But he was just a superstar.
But he was the defensive lead, like the unquestioned defensive leader from a communication standpoint.
Yeah.
And when let me get into the fucking Doc Rivers thing, because you're fucking up my points. Fucking.
I just don't understand how you could say bring up that and then blame it on the coach when we're only mentioning players right now.
That's my point. That's exactly my point, actually.
No. Like
I think if
when we're talking about these leaders, they're players. We're all talking about players.
I think if we had a coach that was able to step up and be a real voice in the locker room, then I think that this is why KG. The reason why Doc was able to win that championship, is because KG brought this like I don't want to screw up the name of what he brought. He brought this like it was
ambiance.
Like no, it's this actual thing. He talks about it. Hold on. So perfect. Perfect. This is why he feels that way. And it has to do with this. I don't know what this means, but KG's talked about it on a lot of podcasts and shit. And this is KG's Area 21 Twitter. This is a quote that Doc Rivers had on KG's Area 21. If I had one game to win for my life, I'm taking that 08 group and we're going to go to war. Because they were going to show up and do it together. Notice how he's saying that almost from like an outsider's perspective. He had less to do with that than I think I was led to believe when I was younger. And that we were led to believe when we were in college. Do you get what I'm saying? And this goes to your point where you want to talk about where you want to blame Kawhi. In Doc Rivers' teams, the best player controls the culture.
That's not Doc. That's not just
Doc. I would agree with you.
That's most coaches.
No, it's not.
Let's talk about the greats.
Okay, Greg Popovich.
Okay, one.
Pat Riley. Want me to keep going?
You think Pat Riley controlled that culture more than Magic did?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, there's no way. Keep on.
Okay, that's why Magic wanted to be traded while Pat Riley was the coach, because he was having coaching problems. I'm pretty sure Pat Riley was in full control. Anyways, let me think of more. Red Auerbach. Let me think of more. Phil Jackson.
No, Russell. No, Phil Jackson. You telling me Phil Jackson with Kobe and Shaq? You saw what happened with Kobe and Shaq.
Oh yeah, because before that, Shaq won a lot of rings and was able to. Phil Jackson was the direct reason why Shaq won rings, right?
He was part of the.
Doc Rivers is he a direct reason why you think KJ?
No,
KJ
but I have a point. I have a point with Doc. Okay. That I want to bring up later, but in terms, I feel like most of these great a lot of the time, the only thing that's weird is because usually the great players that are playing for these great coaches usually are the leaders. The great player that's playing for him is not really a leader. He's not. He doesn't do. What does he do? Like, he let this all happen too. Like, he did. Like, no one's talking about what Kawhi said to them or like how he led them. Like, it's all like left on the coach, which is fine, I guess. But when you talk about all of the other Pantheon greats, they all had that leadership in them.
Yeah, but see, I see it more as a coaching. Like, I feel like they just got out coached in this series. That's why I feel like that's it, because they just weren't making the correct like adjustments on defense, like at all. So when a team doesn't make adjustments on defense multiple games in a row, and then I feel like you have to put blame on a coach in that situation.
Yeah, you definitely do.
So, and I feel like they lost 5 and 6 because of his coaching decisions, and that's why I feel like it's more so on him than the players who just put up a goose egg in Game 7.
That's crazy to me. They have to play.
Yeah, they have to play.
How do you blame it on the coach more than the players? They're the ones that have to play the game.
Because a coach is putting in players that are very obviously not playing well, but he's still sticking to it because he can't see it. He's not doing anything about it, Dario.
No, that's chemistry issues. You don't think so? You want to know why? Because they didn't have enough time together for him to figure it out. How are you going to figure out something that you never had time to figure out?
Chemistry issues have nothing to do with how bad Trez was guarding Jokic. It had nothing to do with that.
they played 12 games together before this playoff started. How are you going to tell him, oh, yeah, we got to switch to this lineup? Because, like, the Warriors, when they played so much together that whenever a situation like this happened, Steve Kerr could just be like, oh, I know this lineup to go to make sure that we flip shit around. Like every great team has that. If you don't play together, how are you going to know what lineup to put up? How are you going to know who's going to do better in certain moments? You have to go through those situations before you even, like, before he's going to just have to make coaching adjustments on the spot, which he probably tried to, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, but I just didn't see that, because especially in game 5 and 6, in the second half, when the Nuggets would be going on those runs, he did not make any adjustments. He waited till those runs were basically over before making adjustments. And then the whole momentum of the game was back in the Nuggets' favor.
Do you think this team, the Clippers were exhausted in game 6 as well?
I think near the end of game 6, maybe, but I felt like, even, you know how I made the point with game 5 where you saw the run where Kawhi was on the bench? I don't know if that exactly happened in game 6, but a lot of the times with the runs, it would be with that second unit out where you had Trez trying to guard Jokic and you had Lou Williams in the game.
Okay, so just, and this is me playing devil's advocate on that point. So let's say in game 6, they're up 12. Nuggets go on a 14-0 run. Nuggets are now up 2. And there's 2 minutes left in the third quarter. You're going to put Kawhi in?
Yes.
And if so, for how long?
What do you mean?
The rest of the game? Because Doc Rivers is looking at it from the perspective as, this guy's not a machine. You have to give him his little moments of rest in order for him to come up when he needs to. Come up big in the most important part of the game, which is the last 5 to 2 minutes.
Yeah,
2 to 5 minutes of the game.
If you have an almost 20-point lead, you don't let it all disappear just to rest your guy. You bring him in to ensure that lead stays there. Like, I'm confused by that.
It's a game of runs. That's just a normal thing.
Yeah, but why would you allow another team to go on a run that would completely get rid of your lead?
Because you're going to get screwed further later on if you don't. It just ended up happening for them. It was just bad. It was just, they just ended up getting screwed no matter what. But if you played Kawhi more earlier, then later on, when he's gonna, you see how he clanked a lot of shots because he was tired. He would have clanked more because you're gonna be playing exhausted, and this is a guy that load managed all year, and like, you're gonna have him play 48 minutes now. It's gonna be impossible. You're asking him to get an injury. Look, Kawhi and Paul George played 40 minutes together out of the 48 minutes of the second half. Like, you can't expect them to play all. No, sorry, my bad. Yeah. No, did I say that right?
Math is insane today. First of all, you told me that they played an hour and a half basketball game, and I was like, whoa, 48 minutes.
40 minutes together.
No, I was just like, you were on a roll, and I didn't want to fuck you up, but I was like, whoa, math.
No, yeah. Well, so they played 20 and a half minutes each, right? Out of a 24-minute half. What else was he gonna do? You made your stars play. Like, the guy that you wanted him to put in played a majority of that half. You're asking Doc to put Kawhi in a situation. So what he would have done there would have put him in more of a situation to fail. You're pushing him to fail there because he's gonna be tired when the most important part of the game is here.
But my point is that it wouldn't have been, in my opinion, it shouldn't have been a crunch time situation at the end of those games, the lead that they have, if it was coached well and played well throughout the game. That's my point. It's not. Do
you think the Nuggets were that much worse than them? Like, I don't think.
No, I just felt that they were just not playing defense on them well in the second half, and they just left people in that weren't playing good defense, and that's why they went on runs. I think it's mostly the defense's fault for what happened.
But the Clippers haven't been playing defense for the last 2 rounds. Are we gonna ignore that? Like, they've literally haven't played defense. Luka was scoring on a I promise you, and I like Luka a lot, but I don't think he would have won and done that against the Lakers. The Lakers play consistent defense, and the Clippers don't. And that was the issue with the Clippers.
I just agreed with you. I said that in the second half they weren't playing defense.
Yeah, but they weren't playing defense throughout the last 2 series. This is a team thing. I'm gonna blame it. Like Doc gets 30% of the blame to me because yeah, he's the coach and he's the leader of the team. But at the end of the day, you cannot blame the coach more than you blame the players who are playing the game.
I'm not trying to blame him, or I'm just trying to be like, it was from someone who's watched him coach multiple teams. He's done this with totally different rosters. Like it happened with Lob City. It happened with just the team with Blake without Chris Paul. It happened with that
the point I made
team.
before about KG made me feel like totally on Dario's side. When I was making it in the moment, I was like, fuck, it's his fault because KG never would have let that happen.
That's literally my biggest thing about Kawhi Leonard.
And that's why I feel the way I feel right now. Because I was like, now I agree with you. Because now I'm like, because I don't think KG ever would have let that happen. I really don't. I don't know. But also at the same token, I don't think Paul Pierce would have shot as shitty as Paul George did. Like,
yeah, but Kawhi didn't do that great. Like, look at this. Look at that. Kawhi shot just as bad as Paul George.
In this particular thing, it's more of a matter of like,
it's the eye test. That it's literally the eye test that tells you the difference.
Not really. It's a matter of like, I genuinely believe by the time he was done, he carried the team legitimately for 5 games. And then in 6 and 7, he was exhausted. And I believe that he started off strong because if you go to sleep and then wake up the next day, you're going to start strong in the first quarter or two, but you're exhausted. Like, you're fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
And when a guy like Jokic can sit, like, okay, so let's see. It's game 6, right? Am I in game 6 or 7? 6. 111. Jokic, 19 minutes. Right? 19. Oh, well, it's really like 20 minutes. I'm trying to see. And Paul George played the entire second half of game 6. 3 for 11.
Who was the best player in this series?
Jokic.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Because,
it's just like, and that's the other thing.
And I think Jokic was a much better leader than Kawhi in the series too. Like, if you see him,
I don't know enough about the Nuggets team to know who's like. I would say Joker is probably big in that department.
And Murray.
I don't know. That's just literally basing it on who shoots the ball the most. Like, I don't know.
Well, no, you watch
that.
You can see them in like throughout. Like, you can see Murray and
like Michael Porter came out and said, "We got to get the ball to other people."
Yeah.
And they went on a 3-game winning streak. Is he the leader? I don't.
Yeah. No, but he has a voice. He definitely has a.
Yeah, I can't say definitively who the leader is on this. I don't even want to put that out there.
So
I have no idea.
So how do we know?
Hey, probably Jokic.
Yeah, I just don't know how. Like, how do you know? Like, people talk about Shaq and Kobe being the leaders in 2000, in the 3-peat, but Derek Fisher was a huge leader in that too. Like, so, I just feel like you can tell throughout watching the game who's because your leadership just doesn't stop while you're playing the game. Like, you can tell when someone's like, if someone's doing bad, you could see LeBron talking to them and telling them like, don't worry, or like you can see them actively like having these conversations and like bringing their team up, like, and then LeBron giving them to that same guy who just missed and him making it afterwards, and you can see the leadership throughout the game too.
Here's what we're gonna do for this legacy breakdown. I'm more interested in identifying the leader in each situation and figuring out, like in this situation, but this is the first situation that we're going to bring up because Doc Rivers, as I go to my little meme right here, 2003, he's the coach of the Orlando Magic. He's the head coach of the Orlando Magic. There's about a zillion things that went wrong with that Orlando Magic team, for the record, but for shits and giggles, let's look at them. Let's look at the series. So the Magic in
who was in this team? Was it?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
And Vince Carter, or was Vince Carter not there at that point?
Vince Carter's not on the Magic. This is
at that point.
They were teammates on the Raptors. But this team.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why.
An old fat Sean Kemp. Drew Gooden, who for this year, this is 02-03. It's his second year in the league. This is a young ass team. Second year in the league, 13-8 during the regular season my bad. 11 and shitty ass numbers. 44% from the field. That's your number 2 guy. Welcome to 2003. Fucking outside of Kobe and Shaq, there was no 1 and 2. It was just this fucking guy. So, what do we think about T-Mac all time historically? What's like the one thing that gets attached to his name more than anything?
That he hasn't won a chip.
That is probably the first thing, and more specifically, why?
Because, well, a lot of his career is he was chasing scoring titles instead of chasing championships.
Would you identify that as terrible leadership?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to keep going. Because he, as a terrible leader, still dropped over 30 points a game, came close to 50, 35, 34% from 3, 77% from the line. Is pretty ass. But
yeah, that's weird.
They're going against I'm pretty sure these guys are going to win the Eastern Conference Championship or the year before or the next year.
Is the next year, yeah.
Yeah, the next year rather. But still, Chauncey Billups only shooting 40%. Like they're not. This is ugly.
This is a time. The efficiency is not as big of a deal.
Yeah, they're not paying as nearly as much attention to it. I would agree. But
and the shots that they're taking are just worse. Analytically worse shots. Like there's more mid-range game, less threes, stuff like that.
So you guys remember the going in or what the score was at the end of the fourth quarter of this last Game 7 we watched? By the end, they were getting blown out, right?
By the end of the fourth?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a 15-point.
So this is the fourth quarter of Game 7 in 03. I would like to note that the Star is in a very similar position.
6 for 22? That's funny. That's hilarious.
Look, and he's got the same fucking attitude. Saul Smiley, like in disbelief.
Cool.
The score's 81-97.
Yeah.
Around the same time. Just like to point that out. I thought that was super interesting.
Were Orlando Magic's favorite in this series?
I would say probably not, but I'll check.
Because that matters a lot to me.
I would agree. No, they were the 8 seed.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, against the 1 seed. Okay, so.
But they still went up 3-1.
Yeah, but a lot of the times, you normally and you see that all the time. Like Kobe in 06, we didn't really blame Kobe that much because we saw the team that he had and we saw what he had to go against. And you, like, in reality, you could just be playing out of your mind for 3 games and make it a bigger series, a better series, or like a series in your favor because you're playing out of your mind. And it looked like he was because he was averaging 33 points. But that is T-Mac. T-Mac, that's a pretty normal thing. But keep on. Sorry.
This was Game 7 for him. 21, shot under 30% from the field.
He took 2 shots in that fourth quarter.
Yeah. He made 2 shots in the fourth quarter.
So when they showed he was 6 for 22, it must have been he must have took a few shots.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was in the beginning of the fourth. My bad.
But yeah, John. But this is my thing. I just thought it was interesting that in the same position at the end of the game, this Magic team had given up in a similar way. Like you could tell based on the score, based on when you watch some of these highlights, it's a lot of like just Pistons getting it in transition, doing their thing, getting buckets, shit like that. Like the fourth quarter is a real beatdown.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's keep going. So what's the next one? Next one we got. Oh, the 2009 Eastern Conference Finals or semifinals. I'm pretty sure this team didn't have Kevin Garnett.
2009. Yeah. They
Yeah.
got. I think they were. Yeah.
They still had 6 players or 5 players in double figures, right?
Yeah.
But what do we know about Paul Pierce? Especially now that we've watched him on television a lot. That dude, I don't know. It doesn't shock me that he didn't win a lot. Listen to me.
That's hilarious. My man said, "What do we know about Paul Pierce?"
I guess we don't know shit. I guess I know shit, but I guess we don't know shit. Fucking, dude, Paul Pierce, without Kevin Garnett, literally won nothing in his career. Nothing. Zilch.
Yep.
I think he made an Eastern Conference Finals during the Kobe Shaq era. I think we saw that.
He was never an MVP caliber player.
Yeah.
He never won any type of awards, anything. Like he wasn't.
All-star, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Let's go to this game 7.
Do you think he was a top 10 player?
At any point?
I think he was.
Which point?
Between 2008 to when he was winning. I think he was I had him in the top 10 for sure.
There are some that would say, I wouldn't because I thought he was great that era, but there are some that would say that he had way too much help for the era.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about it either.
I don't think that's fair.
They had the deepest team.
Every single great player ever had a bunch of help. So it's not the only one. And you've created this saying, and I love it. It's Michael Jordan, and he's the exception, not the rule. And he also played in a fucking era that wasn't as competitive. Like we broke it down, and his legacy breakdown.
Go check the archives.
Yeah, we'll show it at one point, at some point.
All right. So wait. So here's the fourth quarter numbers, because this was a beatdown, another beatdown, 20-point loss.
This is 2009?
Yeah, this is 2009.
Okay.
Round of 2. 35. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Orlando, 35-21 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Absolutely outclassed. Turkoglu just went off.
Yeah.
10 points and 5 assists without missing in the fourth quarter.
People don't even know who this guy is, but that year he was wilding.
He had one season where he was on steroids.
I think it was this one.
Yeah,
I know. Rashard Lewis was.
He's one of the few NBA players to fail for steroids.
Yeah,
that's real shit. But look at our score. I just found this to be really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Almost and the only situation where I cannot look at the leader of the team, of Doc Rivers' team, and being directly resulting in a blowout loss is this one.
Yeah.
And it's because in game 6, they lost Kendrick Perkins.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna say there was a blowout in Game 6 because they lost by like 30 in that.
Yeah, they got smashed. They
were losing by 30 at some point.
Yeah, but they lost Kendrick Perkins, and that made Game 7 incredibly difficult. Closer than Game 6, but that was a huge loss for that Celtics team. That was made on unity and all that shit.
But could you say that the reason it was so close for this Celtics team is because KG was actually there at that point?
Yes. See, this is my point. See?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is good. So, this is my point. Like, KG's like the only tried and true definitive like amazing leader he's ever coached.
I have to go. I mean, Chris Paul.
I'm gonna get to him.
Okay.
Yeah, but they had like personality issues between them.
Yeah.
Which again stems from where?
You think it's the coach's fault? I mean, the coach should fix it. The coach should fix it. I don't know if it's his fault that.
But this is my point. Doc Rivers clearly never fixes it in any of these situations that we've gone through so far.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what he's there for.
Yeah.
For what? I don't know what he's really there for, but he's not there for that.
Yeah. So, could I say what I now that I'm looking, because I never really looked at Doc's career as a coach because I never cared enough, I guess. But before we started this whole thing, I look at it and I'm saying, I don't understand why people would credit him so much for the Celtics championship when, if you look at people who have been in that position, they never got credited. Eric Spoelstra is a good coach, but he never really gets credited for the Miami Heat's 2 championships. Tyronn Lue in 2016 doesn't really get credited for the Cleveland's championships. Like
Kyrie's crazy ass.
Yeah, exactly. But like, so you see, we've seen this happen before, and I was thinking, like, I wanted to say it, but I was like, I'll just say it as we're doing segment. Like, I don't understand why he's getting credited for having the clearly favorited team in 2008. If the Celtics were not favorites at that point,
they won 6 games. I'm pretty sure.
Exactly.
So I think Doc is just. I think it's also just because he's just a great guy. I think everybody just really likes him. I think he's a nice person, and I think that's why people treat him in a way that's different than other coaches. Because I feel like all players and everybody he deals with just love him as a person, and I think that's part of the rose-colored glasses with him.
Fuck you, Ron Artest. Oh.
Yo,
doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get any fucking easier.
Is this whole game on? Could you go to the middle of the third so I could show you when I threw my friend out of my house that day? I swear to God. Yo, in this game,
this is just the highlights. That's fun,
just a little fun story though. In the third quarter, I want to say there's about 2 or 3 minutes left of the third quarter. My friend, Edouard, he's chilling with me, not giving a shit about this game. And this I love, obviously I've always loved Kobe, but I love the shit out of Kobe, and I'm like,
you're in the trenches at this point.
Yeah, I'm in this. I feel like I was sweating and everything.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Yeah, you're in the prime of caring about your team.
17, 16, 17, something like that. Yeah, so I was like literally in this shit. Yeah. And my friend is literally on his phone like this. And he looks at the moment they pass it to Paul Pierce for open 3, and literally I'm like, fuck, because I hated Paul Pierce at that point. Like, I had a respect for him, but I also hated him because I was just like, I know he's gonna make that shot because
he's clutch.
He's big like that. So he goes and he hits the shot, and they go up 13 points. And my friend on his phone looks and says, and I literally said, get the fuck out of my house. I never threw my friends out of my house ever. And I threw him out of the house. And he literally is looking at me. He's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, get the fuck out. Like, I'm not, like, you don't, get the fuck out. I was like, you don't give a shit about this game. And you know how much this shit means to me. And you want to laugh? Fuck you. And I threw him out. And then once the Lakers won, I texted him and told him, my bad. Like, you shouldn't have done that, but you can come back if you want. Like, I totally didn't really like apologize for it. I was like, you shouldn't have done it, but it's fine.
Well, here's your chance. You can apologize right now.
Nah, fuck that. He's totally was being an asshole. He was being an asshole. I love you, Edouard. I know you're not listening, but fuck him.
No, it's Thursday. He's not listening. There's no chance. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Fucking, But yeah, Doc Rivers needs a great leader from a player's perspective, needs a great leader. But this is the other thing. If we're going to bring it back to Kawhi for a second, Toronto, right? I know you were saying the thing about the Warriors and the injuries and stuff like that, but he still got through a fuck ton of adversity. You know what I mean?
Who?
Kawhi. In last year's playoff run in general. Like, he still faced a lot of adversity.
You see, that's the only adversity he faced and won to me was Philly.
And Milwaukee.
See, but now this playoff series, this like bubble thing, might disagree with you.
Oh, wait.
Hello? Oh, okay. I thought you guys. I was like, yo, did his internet go out, or did I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no,
like,
you're good.
No, see,
is that your internet or mine?
I think it was yours, but it's okay. We're good. I can hear you.
So,
all right. Did you hear what I said?
No.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to repeat it or? Oh, okay, my bad. I said. I don't. Just we can start from here.
Yeah, go.
I don't really know because I feel like the only real adversity he faced last year, and you could call me a hater or whatever, was at Philly. I don't think he faced.
What about Giannis' adversity for him?
I felt like that was obvious that he was gonna do that to Giannis because it doesn't make sense how he wouldn't have. Giannis is literally a worser version of 2014 LeBron, and that's exactly what he did to 2014 LeBron. But he did it worse to Giannis because Giannis is worse. So to me, that's not adversity because I expected it. Like,
but that would make you the exception, not the rule.
I guess whatever. People want to say that, and then to beat Golden State, that wasn't fucking Golden State, and we know it, and we could argue about it.
I'm fine
I don't
with
want to do that.
There's no
to me, that's not adversity. Like that. Like,
but he faced adversity to get there, and he had to lead. Who was the leader on that team? Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, probably, but no, not really. I don't know.
Bro, that same team went 7 games. It went to the semifinals and went 7 games with possibly the team that's going to go to the NBA Finals. And we'll talk about that later.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I don't know how much. I'm definitely giving him credit, but this is what I was saying before. I give you credit, but I'm not going to give you that hype that everyone's giving you because I don't think that you did what they're saying that you did. And I felt, and this is not 2020 hindsight. This is me saying it. I said this 2 months ago that I felt this way. So I still feel this way. I don't think we should have given him all the credit. And that's why I said, if he runs through the West like he ran through the East, then I have to give him the credit.
Yeah.
He didn't. But it's not 100% his fault, but it's also something that I'm still not giving. I'm not saying, Kawhi was amazing last season because of it. Like, if he would have done it this season, then I would have been like, I have to say that he's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, which he is. He is amazing. He's just not to that where everyone was bringing him. Like, I don't. And this might be a little tangent, but is he really an all-time great player?
You're on a tangent.
Okay.
I don't think. Also, no, I'm talking with you. I also think right now he's a Hall of Famer, like 100%.
Yeah, but it's to me in the NBA, it's very easy to be a Hall of Famer. But is he an all-time great?
Like that. If you saying like if he
is he a top 50 player all time?
If he Kobe tomorrow is what you're saying.
I don't understand why you gotta bring this stuff up to me like that. Like, that's so fucking unnecessary. Like, it's so unnecessary.
You turned it into a verb. Kobe. You turned it into a verb.
Yeah, you make a jump.
No, like Kobe is like you make the shot. Yeah, like you don't say Kobe for like, oh, it's the airplane crash. Like,
no,
that's
I didn't
not
say
cool.
The airplane crash. I just said, if you make a jump shot or you just die unexpectedly. It's just some shit.
All right, you are very close to not being my friend anymore. Do you know what Kobe means to me? Like, this is not a joke. Like, that means a lot to me.
Listen, if he died unexpectedly tomorrow,
is he a top 50 player all time right now? I'm not saying he's a top 50 player right now. Like, maybe if we talk about Apex, sure.
He might be 50.
I don't know. I
50.
feel like there's too many people that put too many things like stats.
How much Scottie Pippen? Scottie Pippen's in.
If we're talking,
he's 50. Personally, sorry, go ahead.
If we're talking about building my team around a player, sure, I'm gonna say Kawhi. But if we're talking about just their overall resume and what they did, I have to go Scotty. Like in terms of
so what are you asking me in terms of top 50 then?
I'm saying what
break it down.
I'm saying so like with LeBron, everyone thought he was gonna be a Hall of Fame player by the time.
So you're asking me legacy wise, is he?
Yeah, legacy wise. I feel like if he would have won this chip now, you have to call him a top 50 player. It doesn't even matter. He could not do anything going forward. Like he's solidified. Like he's not. To me, he has not fully established himself yet. Because
no, go ahead.
Yeah, but for me, his 2014 championship. Yes, it's a championship. Yes, he did a lot. But the Finals MVP is great and all. But we know he wasn't the clear leader of that team. He wasn't the clear. So and everyone. This is just that's a known thing.
Yeah.
And his 2018 championship is good. Is like a really good achievement. Yeah. But it's something that when you have the asterisk next to it, and people are like, "Oh, you didn't really beat the best team. Like you didn't really beat the best to be the best or whatever." Yeah. Like then you have questions. Like and that's what I did. I had questions. So and then if he would have done it this year, you have to solidify him.
For because you, some of the questions were answered. Like, could he win a game where it's like back and forth, like we saw with the Mavericks in adversity?
Yeah, could you dominate? Yeah. Like, and he could dominate. I know he could dominate. And like to me, he's a top 3 player in the
even even in the Nuggets, against the Nuggets, he was dominating. But but what do you call it? I think right now he's probably out of the top 50, but if he's in it, he's 50, or he's like in that 50 to 40 range.
Yeah, like gotcha.
Right now, I could see somebody arguing that. Like, if you put down the names right now, I would be like, maybe. But this is the other thing. When I think about the 50 greatest list, I think of like all the guys from '96, and like there's so many other guys now. There's so many other guys.
Yeah, exactly. The
LeBrons, the Durants, the Currys. All those guys are like Steve Nash, 2-time MVP of the league.
KD, like
I said,
like
that's what
Dirk, like Dirk.
Yeah,
like
all these Tim Duncan. Like there's all these guys that are not Kobe. Like
and this is not even I'm not trying to spread hate on him, because to me Kobe at year 7. Because to me Kobe at year 7, he won 3 championships, but to me he wasn't. I wouldn't have put him as a top 50 player yet. Like. You just can't. He didn't prove it. What did he prove? He proved that he could win it with Shaq, sure. But once he got that 4th chip, that's when it was like, okay, that's it. Like and all the other shit he did when he was not with Shaq. You know what I mean? But
true.
And I'm sorry.
No, but go. You just what?
The only thing with Kawhi is I'm scared about him, because for you to have knees that are starting to go this early in your career. He's only 7 years in his career.
Well, that's why I think the load management thing, when you talk about, is that going to be coming to an end, or like, will he, like, I don't think he has a choice. I think if he wants to play basketball at a high level, I think these are the positions he's forced into for him, just from a personal individual standpoint. So that's why when you talk about, like, can you win a championship with doing the load management? I think if he's the only guy doing it, or if he's like the guy, like if that's the plan for him and the team knows it and that's it, then sure, like we saw with the Raptors. But in a situation where like he's not treated differently, which is weird to say, we saw what it turned out in with the Clippers.
And I think next year this Clippers team is going to be much better, because
this is the last thing on the Clippers, and then we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
They're all or nothing next year, right?
Based on just the way the contracts and everything is set up.
We'll do a quick roundup. Yes or no questions. You ready?
Yep.
You ready, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Doc Rivers back next year. Yes or no?
I hope not.
Yes.
Yes? Hope not. Okay. Paul George traded. Yes or no?
No.
No, from both of you.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me think. Lou Williams traded. Yes or no?
No.
No major roster move made for either of you guys.
I think they shouldn't. I think it'll be stupid.
They shouldn't.
I think that's stupid for them to do it.
I agree.
The only thing is if you want to pick someone up and go into the luxury tax, sure. But the whole thing is, I think they're gonna lose some pieces because I don't know if they're gonna sign Montrez again because I think his
free agent.
I think and he's probably gonna want big
well,
money.
If they lose him, they could do a sign and trade and get something. He's $6 million a year.
Well, it doesn't make sense if you're gonna sign him. Go into the luxury. Why would you not go into the luxury? It doesn't make sense.
If you're Ballmer, I think he's not. I think he's willing to do that.
Of course, he's the richest owner. There's no reason he shouldn't. Like,
hey, sometimes you get rich from being cheap. You never know.
Yeah, but he's into that team. You know, like he clearly.
No, he is. No, he is. He is definitively.
Yeah, I think they should just run the tape back, and once they play a full, like, if Kawhi Leonard manages go 60 games but actually plays 60 games with that team, I think that team is dangerous. Like, there's no way it's not.
Yeah. What do you think, Glenn?
I would hope so, and I would agree, but I don't know.
The only thing
pathetic. It was all around pathetic. So
yeah. The only thing is next year the West is only going to get tougher.
Yeah, because the Warriors should be back.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the last thing. Well, we're done with the Clippers. Let's talk about the Nuggets. To your point, Dario.
Yeah, for sure.
Denver Nuggets and two guys actually. Mr. Nikola the Joker Jokic. 24, 13, 6.6 assists, and a block and a half. Dario, we've been doing legacy breakdowns for a while, man.
Yeah.
You ever see a stat line like that?
Kinda. Similar. Yeah. Maybe.
Name it.
I don't know about the block. The block is the only thing that throws me off, but like that's
throws me off too. And the 6 assists. The over 6 assists?
That's a bird stat line for sure.
Interesting.
And
I like that.
So to answer what we had a question earlier, like 2 weeks ago. We asked if Jamal Murray was having a hot streak or not. I don't know. No, like, he kind of shut me the fuck up. Like, my man put 40 in this in because he said he wanted to redeem himself from his game 7, and he did bad in the Utah game 7 again, and then he redeemed himself this time and put a 40 piece on. So,
he's leading the playoffs in scoring right now.
It's insane.
Yes, it is. 1, 2, 3, 4 games over 40. Wow,
it's just so up and down. It's so weird to see him like going.
27 points per game, 6.5 assists, and 5 rebounds. So this is like a solid 2-guard stat line from like 20 years ago.
Maybe, but not with the
the threes. No,
yeah, I was gonna say not with the 49.
No, I'm saying just the baseline, just the baseline.
Yeah, they have both been shooting out of their mind. Isn't Jokic?
Whole team was shooting out of their mind. The whole team has been shooting well. Anytime they pass out to somebody for a 3-point shot, it's going in. It's insane.
Well, to your point, what is something that I always say about Game 7s? I always say that they're usually some of the most inefficient games. Mm-hmm. It's a classic Game 7 when both teams shoot 40%. Yeah. You know what I mean? Nuggets, I'm pretty sure
they shot 46.
46. Yeah, 46 and a half.
Yeah.
Which is like
47. That's pretty
it's really high when you consider the Clippers shot. Oh wow, they shot. Love when this shit happens.
Is this the whole series or is that I don't know if that's game 7.
This is just the series. I think this is the series.
Yeah, but you wanted to go game 7. Yeah, game 7 is what you were trying to talk about.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's why I was like,
because this team, the teams were pretty evenly matched throughout the series. Besides the obviously lopsided 3-1. And
here we go. This is more like it. This is what I was seeing the other day. That's why.
I'm like, yeah.
I was 49%. Teams don't shoot 50% in Game 7s.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, when I go to the Clippers for comparison and I see that they shot 37, now all's right in the world. But that's the thing. Like, usually you see around 40 to 40, like no more than 45%. This 49, 50% number, they were comfortable. It wasn't just that they were shooting well, it's that they were shooting comfortably. Like, they weren't stressing it. And maybe it's because they kind of got that out of their system from the Game 7 before.
Well, this is their third straight Game 7 in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, fourth straight Game 7 in the playoffs.
Right. But let's just take it from that's true. But
so they have experience in it.
And before that, when they had when it was they wound up against Jimmy Butler and the Timberwolves for the 8th spot in an elimination game to end the season 3 years ago. I think.
They play better when their back is against the wall.
They have a lot of experience under pressure.
Yeah.
God damn, Jokic. 16, 22 rebounds, 13 assists.
Yeah.
Ooh. But what do you think? Even less for Jamal Murray, right?
Yeah.
If he's really Larry Bird, but just big, fat Larry Bird.
How much? So Larry Bird was what, 6'9"?
Yeah.
So he's an inch taller than Larry. How much heavier is he?
He's 7 feet
he lost weight.
Jokic is 7 feet tall.
Oh, why did I think he was 6'10"? My bad. So he's 3 inches taller. Oh, okay. He's 3 inches taller, and he's much heavier than Bird. Okay.
Yeah.
But they have such a similar, like, after you mentioned it, and then a lot of people started like throwing it like towards his way. They do play so similarly. It's insane.
After this,
did you see the behind the back pass he did?
Yes. After this series,
or over the head. Sorry.
After this past Clippers Nuggets series, I've realized that he is the love child of Dirk Nowitzki and Larry Bird.
So are we only saying Dirk because of the one-step shot? Is that the only reason?
The touch. Because you can have the one-legged shot and fucking brick it, but he's taking the one-legged shot from 35 feet away and teardropping it in the basket.
The only thing is his is like with the right leg over the left, so it's not really. I don't see much Dirk in him, is what I'm saying. Besides the fact that he's like from Europe.
He has Dirk's shooting touch, but I guess you're trying to say he has Larry's shooting touch.
Yeah, that's what like they play so similarly, and like his shot is like Larry's shot is not exactly the same, but it's similar.
That's where I see the Dirk, because he shoots like Dirk. Like he shoots like Dirk. Like besides I'll bring up Dirk shit just so you can.
I see what the high arcing is what
and the pump faking, like where Dirk gets up here in his pump fake and is able to get guys to jump really easily.
Yeah, but Larry did that too. That's the only thing. Like,
yes,
Larry did that a lot.
But I think, I don't know. Maybe it's just because in my head I think Jokic probably got it more from Larry.
I feel like it's literally because
Dirk.
I feel like it's literally because he's European and tall.
Nah,
because I don't know.
I saw Larry Bird first.
No, I know that, but I'm saying
one-legged shit makes me obviously think of Dirk. But like, it's also he plays from the post. Like, he does different things than Dirk in the post. But like, it's like they're both bigs. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I see it from that perspective, and I don't know.
I just see him being dangerous in different ways than Dirk was.
Sure.
So like, you never really looked at Dirk as dangerous from a passing perspective, as you see it. Like you worry about like once he has the ball, you kind of like have to shift your focus on now. Like you have to pay attention to him, but you also have to pay attention to where he's possibly going to throw it to, and like he just brings a lot to the game. So
yeah, I totally agree. The passes that he makes are just bonkers.
Yeah. Like like he ran a fast break like normal as fuck. Looking like a PG out there.
But they would give him the ball in the backcourt.
That's the shit. That shit was crazy. I was just like,
I was like, They were up 20 and he's
yeah, I know. I was like, that's such a dick thing to do. Like, you didn't have to do this. Like, it was over. It was completely over at this point. But he was just like, nah, I want to rub it in. Fuck that.
He could also play quarterback in case Drew Lock gets hurt for the Broncos.
That's a fact.
He can come out and play QB. Nah, he can really. He can really play. But here's what I think. Here's my thing as we look towards the next series, because we're gonna do this for each conference, right? Nuggets have come back from 2 straight 3-1 deficits, right?
Yeah.
I now find myself in a position where I cannot comfortably bet against them. Okay. So when I look at the Lakers squad, I see a lot of inconsistency up until the last week when they played the Rockets. Right?
Are you about to bet against my Lakers?
So here's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I can't fucking find
the standings.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. No, I'm just trying to get to this kind of shit. Because I really don't want the season stats from the Lakers. I really just want the Lakers' recent stats.
Yeah.
So I'm coming here. So you got LeBron, 25, 10, and 7. This looks great. 2 steals and 2 blocks. Smashing. 35 years old. Not great from 3, but shooting 50% from the field. Anthony Davis, on a team where there is no one even remotely his size,
he's
playing
shooting
against
7
him.
threes a game, too. That's crazy.
Who?
Bron. Keep him. My bad.
Oh, okay, sorry. But on a team where there is no one who can physically guard him on the Rockets, I'm very happy that he shot 60% and did his fucking job. 25 and 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think Anthony Davis can stop Nikola Jokic? That's where I'm at right now.
Make it difficult? Sure. Stop. I don't think any of the top players could stop the other top players.
And that's where you're at with Jokic right now?
Yeah. Jokic, there's no doubt about it. He's a top 10 player in the league. If anyone disputes it, it's just because you're blind. You have to be blind. What the fuck? Like, how can you look at him and say, oh, he's not a top 10 player? Like, I thought he was a top 10 player before going into this playoffs.
Yeah, me too. But I just am never sure whether I'm, like, being hipstery with my picks. Like,
oh, yeah. No, he definitely.
I know I look for young guys like.
Yeah. But he was closer towards the back end. That was more like 9 or 10 to me. Yeah. But
this playoff run elevates.
Yeah, this playoff run, I might put him like 7, 6 even. Like
Jokic or Jimmy Butler.
Oh, come on. I like Jimmy, but I already said, like, Jimmy's not a top 10 player to me. Like,
still?
No. If we're talking clutchness, he's a top 5 clutch player in the league to me. But in terms of, like I like Jimmy because of his clutchness. So I respect him for that, because I feel like players who are clutch, you have to respect them. Or if not, you're just going to get disappointed when you go against them, because you're going to be being like, oh, this guy ain't shit. And then when in the clutch time, he's going to just be fucking you. And you're going to be like, oh, I don't understand why. You got to at least respect that. And that's why I didn't respect LeBron for 12 years of his career, because I was like, fuck you, you're not clutch. But once he finally became clutch, I was like, all right, now I got to put some respect on this guy's name, because he was easily the best player in the league, and then he became one of the clutchest players in the league. So
here's what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
My brain says Lakers in 5.
5?
My brain.
I see this going 6 or 7 games.
The thing,
if they go down 3-1, it's Lakers in 5. Because
but listen to me. The thing that makes me think that is, I think LeBron could easily do this or more in the next series.
He's gonna do worse. I don't even like. This has been the funnest 2 months for me, because I literally have never rooted for LeBron ever in my life, and it's so weird being on the other side, and I feel so comfortable. I'm like, wow. I'm like, this is how it is. I was like, because I had the luxury of rooting for Kobe for so long. So I had this luxury of being like, oh, Kobe's here, I'm fine.
We have an all-time great. We're here.
Yeah. And then when going against LeBron, I would always be pissed because I'm like, I hate this guy, so I have to fucking root against him and shit. And he would piss me off sometimes. Not a majority of the time, I was happier. But this time, we're on the opposite ends, and me and him are coexisting together pretty well.
I love rooting for LeBron. I think it's so fun to root for him.
Nah, really? I can't. I'm still on the other side.
No, well, this literally the first 7 games of this playoffs, he was aggravating me because it was like we've talked about this throughout this whole like podcast where I like players to be very aggressive, and LeBron James doesn't start off that way, and he just passes. He's very passive. He passes to he tries to get his teammates involved, which is a way of basketball that I can understand why a lot of people like it, but I personally don't think it's the most effective way. Like I think leadership in other ways helps you more. But he frustrates me because I'm like, attack, motherfucker. But then when he gets into that tech mode, it's just like it's just weird that he flips it on and off. Like
he's one of the few that can do that.
Yeah.
He's one of the very few that can do that, and I'm learning that more and more as I keep watching this shit.
Yeah. That's why like and are we gonna do predictions?
Yeah.
Or is this kind of our
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think more than likely the Lakers are gonna lose the first game because I'm not changing it because it's a different series or whatever. Like I would have thought that they would have lost to the Clippers the first game anyways. Maybe not because LeBron has a little bit more that he wanted to prove to the Clippers, but this team, well, LeBron teams historically lose game 1s because he usually is a fill-out game for him and his team, and usually they adjust so well. Like if you looked at and it's not only this postseason. If you look at like just throughout his career, game 2s he usually wins because his teams adjust very well. So I could see them very well losing.
That's because he adjusts very well.
Yeah, but he has them ready. Like you gotta like.
If Doc Rivers was coaching LeBron, he'd be fine.
Exactly, because he wouldn't have to do shit.
He wouldn't have to lead.
Yeah, he would just be like sitting there. You could be a nice little face there, I guess, and just watch.
Talk about social injustice. We need you for that, but outside of that,
exactly,
I got this. Leave the basketball operations to me.
Yeah, and but I could see the Lakers beating the Denver. So I see it in 2 different ways. Either they lose like they normally do, or because there's not as much to adjust to in terms of speed. I feel like the speed is the hard part for them to adjust to. Like when they going against Houston was so much faster than the Lakers were, so they had to adjust to that speed. And Portland played kind of similarly to Denver, so I could see them not having to adjust as much because they have a very similar play style a little. But it's either way, the thing that kind of benefits the Lakers is they went against 2 straight teams with 3-point shooting specialists, pretty much like specialist teams. Like it was all 3-pointers and shit. And that's the big deal with this Denver team is they make so many threes, and then they have a fucking 7-foot monster just in case.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I think. So I'm not picking against the Nuggets. I got Nuggets in 7. I don't think it'll go any less. You just
said Lakers in 5.
That's what I said. My heart.
Oh, your heart or your mind?
My brain says Lakers in 5.
Okay.
My heart says Nuggets in 7. Because I can't go against a team that's been on the brink of defeat twice. Like, they could be up 3-1. And people will be like, I don't know. Like, you can't. And they might go up.
Laker team.
I could see them going up 3-1. I could see that happening.
The Lakers?
And I cannot see LeBron losing in that situation. But he's
14-0.
Yeah, but I also can't. The Nuggets are 2-0 in this playoffs.
Yeah, but they're 3-1. So they actually have a loss in a game 7.
Yeah, but that was a while ago, and now you're in this insane MTV Cribs or style bubble, the challenge style bullshit, where you're constantly stuck alone with your own thoughts, and LeBron has to worry about making sure that Anthony Davis and more specifically Dwight Howard and those guys don't fucking lose their minds. And here's the thing that I think fucks you. Unless this guy right here plays like this in the next series and you continue to get this from him, I think Jamal Murray is fucking you up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do get this from him, then I think Lakers in 5 was more likely, like even more likely, because Rondo's a fucking animal, and he can hang with. He's around Jamal Murray's size, and he can kind of stay with him in terms of quickness and stuff like that. Even though Rondo is a little older at 33.
I would like to credit you on something real quick. You predicted this, and Caruso has actually showed up in the series. Doesn't matter what the stats say. He definitely in big games, like in that closeout game, he has 17 points, and he's been playing defense. He's averaging a steal and a block.
Magic number. That was the magic number I said to start in the previews.
Yeah. My whole thing is, you see what is Denver's poison to every team? Like what are the plays they go to?
The 2-man game.
Yeah, with who?
Jokic and Murray.
So my whole thing is, I don't know how effective that 2-man game is going to be when you have LeBron and AD guarding you.
LeBron's not guarding Murray, and if he does,
in big points of the game, yes, he is.
I doubt it.
Oh, I promise you, he's done it throughout his whole career.
I know, but
he did it. He did it to Harden. He did it to Russ. Why wouldn't he? He did it to Dame. He guards them. It's not.
Murray's quicker than those.
Than who? Than Russell Westbrook? No, he's not.
The guy who went 4 of 13 and completely crumbled and crumbles in every major game that he's ever played in. Yeah, I would say
Jamal Murray has just now started playing big, and this is not.
We're looking at right now.
Yeah, exactly. But most of the time, all right. I have to be that guy? I really don't want to be that guy with LeBron James. But do we have to go through LeBron James' career and show how those kind of guys, LeBron James usually makes them look normal once it's time? Like he's done it to
besides Derrick Rose 10 years ago.
He just did it to Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
Speaking of Russell Westbrook, I heard something interesting. So someone tried to say that there needs to be slack on Westbrook for what happened in the bubble because he was already coming in slightly injured from the bubble, and then he also had the corona case where he had corona, so people felt like he just wasn't maybe 100%, and he was playing at like 80% at all, maybe.
So LeBron's getting Rona.
Oh, that's fine. So what about James Harden? What about James Harden?
Oh, no, I didn't mention James Harden. I was just talking about Westbrook because you guys were talking about Westbrook.
Is 6'6", 6'7", over 200 pounds. He's way bigger than Jamal Murray.
Who's harder to guard, Jamal Murray or James Harden?
Right now, Jamal Murray. This second,
your recency bias is
recency bias is relevant when we're talking about games that literally.
Okay, go to James Harden, please, and let's see what he averaged in the playoffs.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Jamal Murray and see what he averaged.
Yeah, let's do the same thing. I promise you, it's gonna be very similar.
Because
No, I want to see James Harden's stats in the playoffs.
James Harden's stats in the playoffs are doo-doo. And it doesn't change the fact that he's 6'6", 6'7", 225-ish pounds.
Okay.
Fucking Jamal Murray is like way smaller. 6'4", 215, way smaller, way faster, and if his jump shot's falling, he's way harder to guard. That's what we've learned in this series, or in these playoffs.
Then it looks like that when you're going against a team that doesn't play that great of defense. The Clippers did not play great defense throughout this whole playoffs. It's not. This is fact. This is not just.
They played horrible defense.
Exactly. So, and you're talking about the team that was number 1 in defense in the playoffs this year and in the bubble.
If LeBron comes in and cuffs them for an entire fourth quarter when it's needed, then I will stand corrected. But I just doubt it.
All right.
At some point, age catches up with you.
Yeah, but you do see him, especially like down the stretch in playoff games in fourth quarters, where he will go and take those harder defensive assignments.
Well, yeah, I'm not doubting that he's not going to take the challenge. I'm saying that the Nuggets just keep coming up every single time.
Out of all the guys that LeBron James has faced in his career, you're telling me Jamal Murray's gonna be that kid that does it? Like Kevin Durant was the guy that had to do it, like to LeBron, where LeBron took on the challenge and it didn't matter. Like you're telling me Jamal Murray is like, look at he did. What are we talking about here? Like
50%. LeBron didn't even play good defense against him.
Oh, because that matters. Well, you know what? If you was to do some type of advanced stats and look at LeBron guarding Harden, I promise you it's gonna look different. You know that.
All I'm saying is,
your little smiley face.
I'm not counting the Denver Nuggets out. It's not happening.
And all right, I'm telling you right now, Lakers in 6. If they go down 3-1, I can guarantee you Lakers in 5.
I was gonna say Lakers in 6.
Thank you.
I'll take Nuggets in 7. Fuck LeBron. Fuck LeBron and his big dick. All right, let's move on. So we got Celtics.
You guys are so fucking weird. Like I can't.
What? Me? It was him.
Yeah, you're dating the weird one. Let's make something very clear.
I know, but this man also just told us a story how he kicked his friends out during a Lakers game, and you're talking about LeBron's slong. Like, you both are weird.
Do you think that the Heat got lucky in game 1, or do you think they're doing something? Do you think they're enforcing a similar strategy than they did to Milwaukee? In terms of controlling the ball and things like that.
I like the way that they're like playing in terms of like a team and defense. Like the way that they're running their defense is how a team would normally like win a championship and get to the finals at least. Like my mind completely says Heat in 6.
Yeah.
But my heart
here you go
says fuck that, Jason Tatum and Celtics in 6. so
at least in this game, in this one that we're showing the highlights of right here, this game was they had them dead to rights.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's been like Miami every playoff game that they've had.
Yeah.
The first round, the second round, like they go down, and then in the second half they're like, oh wait, our defense, and then our threes, we're good.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I asked. That's why I asked the question, because that's what they did to Milwaukee. Same thing.
And that's the recipe. And I think we might have talked about this before, but consistent defense is always going to be consistent offense, because it's like easier, like you see it open, you actively see that the defense matter. Like the defense is going to keep you in the games, like it's going to always matter. So and that's what makes me always like look at this Heat team and say they're going to go to the finals. Like they have to, because one, that to me they have a better leader, I want to say, because I don't think Jason Tatum has been to a conference finals. He's done shit in the playoffs, but I don't know how much of a like is he like the main leader of that team. I feel like
that's
Kemba.
What I was asking about the Nuggets was the same kind of deal, same situation, right? Young team, lots of guys who score. Like you in your head, you're like the guy who scores the most points, definitely the leader. But like,
for me, it's
Kemba Walker there, right?
Yeah.
And Brad Stevens is one of those coaches.
Mm-hmm.
He
deserves the praise that he gets, because he's
always
actually
does more with less.
Yeah.
Although the weird thing is, since he's been given like quote unquote more, if I said more with less, since he's been given more, he hasn't really like gotten past this point. He hasn't broken through the glass ceiling of the conference finals. That's you could put some of that on LeBron, but you could also.
But when was he given, like, because the Boston series, I mean the Celtics Cavs series in 2018, they were underdogs. Like they.
Yeah, same thing in 20. Weren't they in the conference finals the year before also with Isaiah Thomas?
The year before that?
Yeah, with Isaiah Thomas. Pretty sure that they were.
Yeah, was Brad?
Everyone was talking about is Brad Stevens the best coach in the league?
Yeah, they were the underdog there too. Yeah,
I was like Popovich, but it's okay.
Yeah, but it's a fight between the two. I think they're definitely.
Pop is the best coach in the league until either one of two things happens: he retires, or he just like totally loses his mind. One or the other. I think, but
right. But I don't know. You got to look at
Stevens obviously in the top 3.
Yeah. To I don't know if he like this. This is a point that like you're more of a like I don't know if they might be an underdog in this series. I'm not sure. I feel like the Celtics are the favorites, but
I feel like it's fucking split.
Pretty even. Yeah, it's pretty close.
I don't have a favorite in this one.
Yeah. Oh, like in terms, but you have a team that you're rooting for. I'm assuming you're rooting for the Celtics.
If I'm being completely honest, as I sit with the Celtics stuff behind me, I don't know. I fucking just want to see.
You hate Jimmy. Like I feel like you'd be rooting for the Celtics just for that.
It's really just. I don't want to see Jimmy Butler win a championship because.
Oh, he won't. Don't worry.
I don't. Because I don't think that. I just don't think he's a top 10 player in the league, and obviously wins a championship now. I'm gonna have no choice but to like put him in there somehow.
I don't know.
If he wins a championship this year, he's got to be 10 at least.
So who we taking out?
We're you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm not taking anybody out right now. But
one thing
I think. Go ahead.
Oh no, you gotta keep on.
I think we're destined for a Nuggets Heat chip finals because the bubble brings us madness and nothing but madness.
No.
And that would be the most bubble appropriate NBA finals of all time. Would be Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat and Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. 2 teams that nobody expected to fucking be there. If we get Celtics Lakers finals in the bubble, that would be so boring. Fuck that.
Why?
I'd rather see something different. We've seen that
on the year Kobe passes, the way to get. How do y'all feel about that block? Do you feel like that? A lot of people are saying that was the greatest block of all time.
Oh my god!
What?
I was like, are we drunk here? Like, this is the first game.
Well, that was the same thing. Like, that was the same thing when people were saying the Clippers thing was the worst collapse of all time. And I was like, do we have a revisionist history? Did I forget that the Golden State Warriors blew a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals with a 73-win team? Did I miss that?
I actually do think the Clippers are worse.
Come on.
How is that a thing?
Come on.
Because the gold. So to me, usually when series like that happens,
it's not in the finals. It can't be the worst. It's really that simple.
Well, if you look at, there's no reason they should have lost that series. But
same thing with Warriors.
No, that's not true. The Warriors actually had one of their main stars out for one of those games. So you at least have that. You lost one of the games because of that.
They still had Game 7, though.
Clippers didn't lose. Yeah, but Clippers didn't lose anyone, and they lost all 3 games after being up double digits. The Warriors, they didn't have much of a lead in Game 5 ever really, and Draymond was out, which was literally the heart of their team. Then you went to Cleveland, and mostly everyone knew that Cleveland was going to win that series. Like I said it, I literally wrote this on Facebook. I said, this is bullshit that the league is doing this to the Warriors, because they know very well what the hell is going to happen. Because I literally called it like 7 days before it happened. I was like, the Warriors are going to lose Game 5. They're the momentum of Game 5 plus going to the Cavs. Cavs are going to clearly win. And then you're going to have a toss-up game in Game 6. I wrote that shit on Facebook. I can look it up if you want.
No. Yeah, but they still had Games 5
honestly,
and Game 7.
Here's my thing. At the end of the day, when comparing these 2 moments, Clippers didn't win 73 games in the regular season, and Clippers weren't in the finals when they choked. And to me, that's worse. And they were the favorites in the finals. That's the only reason. And if you want to put the Clippers at 2, great. Fine with that. But I am never. Also, not for nothing, this became like a meme. Like, people cared about this shit.
Well, everyone hated They wanted to see the Warriors fail so much.
Yeah. which makes it different, in my opinion. But I think, in my opinion, it's not close. But if somebody wants to say it's close, that's fine. But in my opinion,
I can see it being in the finals.
Yeah, that matters to me. That matters a lot
for sure. And this is only a second round series, so it's like, like no matter what, 20 years from now, no one's gonna talk about that Clippers situation, and everyone's gonna.
So. I don't know so, but I don't think so.
Yeah, unless you're talking about Kawhi's career, obviously, and you're just trying to shit on it, like then you're gonna bring it up. But like I didn't fucking remember that Magic beat the Celtics in 2009 when the Celtics were up 3-1. Like I didn't remember that shit. No one's gonna remember that. Yeah. But if it happened in the finals, you definitely would. So exactly. I agree. I agree.
My point. That's exactly my point. Yeah. But to the block, same game, for the same kind of the same reasons. I think.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that people were saying that was the greatest block. I was like, what? Like this is literally like game one. Like
also, it wasn't like even if you don't think the LeBron block is the number one block of all time,
if people don't think that that's just crazy. Like you just hating LeBron for no reason.
I agree. But like I definitely would put this one, at least if we're just comparing those two, I think this one's better.
Yeah, well, the block is better than this. This is amazing.
They showed a couple of them, and I was like, Elijah Wan had one. They showed a couple of them on SportsCenter of like playoff blocks. It's so specific. Playoff game-saving blocks, like.
Yeah, like the reason this block is so important is because they were both teams were on a cold spree and they couldn't score for shit. Yeah. And it was pretty much like whoever scored first is probably gonna is just gonna have the advantage going into the last few. It was the last few minutes of the game, anyways, and it was just a big block. It was definitely a big block, and I think it was a momentum shifter too for them. Like they, like a minute later, Kyrie hits that big three to put them up.
Yeah.
So I think it was like a momentum shifter for sure.
Yeah, at this point it was like a classic Game 7. Nobody could buy a basket, and then they seemed to be getting like this easy fast break, and then LeBron's just like, nah.
Yeah.
But
I still to this day don't understand why people.
Was amazing.
Which one?
Having said that, I think the Bam Adebayo block was amazing.
That was you know how strong you have to be in your wrist.
What I'm saying.
Like for your wrist.
I dunked on in the same situation a year ago.
Yeah. But, like, I'm surprised he didn't break his wrist. Do you know how hard it is for someone to come full force down? Like, and Jason Tatum is not that, like, small, really. Like, he's, like, what, 230 pounds, something like that? 6'8"?
Larger than normal human.
Yeah. So, yeah. And mind you, it's full force coming down. It's not like he caught him when he was going up. You know what I mean? Like, you caught him when he came. Like, that's all the force and pressure. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I just saw it on top from the jump.
What did he say? 2 fingers of his went numb or something?
Where's that?
When you go back, if you go, we could watch this and then.
No,
he says 2 of my fingers went numb.
Yeah, he told Rachel Nichols that.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping. I'm surprised you don't have a broken wrist.
Hold on, I want to get the still frame. So we get a nice picture of that. Look at that.
That's crazy.
See, when I first saw the replay, I was like, is that goaltending?
Oh, no.
Because I was like, if your hand's on the rim and they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's technically blocking the rim with his hand.
Yeah.
Or the hoop. So I was like, in my head, when I first saw it, I was like, this isn't goaltending.
But like, look at how close it is. Like, if you see on the bottom, like the bottom picture where it's just showing the like bottom left.
This guy?
No, the bottom left.
Oh, bottom
of your screen. Oh, wait, in the middle. Oh, you just missed it. Yeah, that one right there. You see his hand? Like he's like over the rim.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird.
That's why I thought it was a goaltend, because I was like, I just didn't think you could do that. Yeah. But I guess if you're blocking a dunk, they don't care.
I guess. Yeah, that's true. I've never. I never thought about that. So,
because technically, just think about it, Dario.
It's above the cylinder. Like,
if somebody takes it, if somebody shoots it, like does a floater, you can't block it like that.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe it's because he still has possession. I don't know.
It might be a dumb idea in my head. It doesn't matter.
It's definitely.
I was just like perplexed by it.
You want to know the rule at least, or something like it was like, but yeah, like what I like about that though is Tatum. So Tatum, he took a really dumb shot at the end of the fourth when I felt like he should like. I really don't understand why people like how I understand analytics and shit says otherwise, but there's no way someone could tell me I'd rather you take a 3 at the very end of the game over a mid-range shot. I just don't understand that in my mind. Like, I feel like mid-range shots are so much more efficient than a 3 with someone guarding you. But I get analytics says otherwise. But
it completely depends on who is shooting it. Number one.
Yeah.
And it completely depends on like context of the shot. Like you said, if the Tatum. If the Tatum 3 that almost went in at the very end of the game, see if I can pull that up.
Yeah. I was mad that he took that shot because I personally, especially when the game's tied, you have no reason to take that shot. Why don't you drive to the basket? You could possibly get fouled. You don't know what the hell. Like, and we see that these refs are calling fouls at the end of the games. It's not like normal playoff games where like they're not really calling it because of the crowd. Like these. Like how many times we saw Jimmy Butler win a game because they called a foul at the very end. You know what I mean? Like So like you could easily have attacked there and you had given it was a tie game. You have nothing to lose. Why wouldn't you just attack the basket? Yeah. But what I like is that he comes back and looks at his mistake from a quarter ago and says, "No, I'm gonna attack the basket this time." It didn't end well for him, but I think that was I like that mentality of his.
Like when the very last shot that he took though, if he had made it, it was on target. He like caught it, turned, and like released it on 2 people. The buzzer beater. Are we gonna get to see it?
Of game 4?
He like fell down when he caught it, stood up, and still got it off somehow.
Oh, you talking about? No, I'm not talking about that.
I'm talking about. Hold on, I'm talking about this real quick.
Oh, okay.
Watch this. Because if this went in, this would have been one of my favorite buzzer beaters ever.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Things like that will never be remembered, and I like to bring them up because in the moment I pop for them. But
I was talking about the shot that he took at the end of the fourth.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying.
But the thing with the mid-range jump shot is like a lot of guys are inefficient at taking it. Like don't get to that 50 or higher percent point taking it, and when they do, they're Carmelo Anthony. Yeah. Like the problem is that no one's been elite from the mid range like that and put it all together, like been 2-way or like to prove your theory right. Even if analytics says yes, there's no great star that I can think of a couple. DeMar DeRozan.
Oh no, wait, like
guys who like use the mid range as their main part of their game,
like MJ, Kawhi,
but
Kobe
Kawhi is really the best example of today. MJ, I'm not talking about.
Oh, you're talking about now. Yeah. Okay. I was like, wow. I was like, we've talked about guys like this. So.
No.
But yeah, gotcha.
In the era of analytics.
But it just doesn't. So I could understand if you're down to, it doesn't make sense to me. You're tied. It's a tie game. Why? No matter what, if we could talk analytics all we want. Like most of the time, people are shooting 30 to 40% from the 3.
Yeah.
You don't see much people shooting 50 unless you're Joker. So I know for a fact that you're gonna have at least a similar percent or more of a percentage chance of making a mid-range shot than a 3. If we're talking about just percentages, not because like when you look at the 3, you're like, well, all right, you're shooting 35% from 3 and 45% from mid-range, but the 3 is getting you 1 extra point. So that's why the 3 is a better shot to take. Sure. Like if you're thinking about it from that perspective, but mid-range wise, you could definitely shoot 40% from mid range, and I'd rather you take a 40% chance of a mid range shot than a 30% chance of a 3-point shot because it's a closer shot, and you have more. You don't have anything to lose in that moment.
Yeah. First, specifically, when you're talking about playing ahead.
Yeah, they were tied. They were tied at that point, and he took a bad 3. And I was just like, why would you take a bad 3 at the end of a game when you clearly have a chance of?
But that's been the Celtics' MO this entire like Brad Stevens era, is live by the 3, die by the 3. In the East, like
yeah, to keep up in games, but like
that's how they play.
That's just dumb.
I mean, do you remember Game 7, 2018? Were them and the Rockets both in the same year had like the most astonishing fall off from grace in terms of shooting. Game, they both went 7. And the Celtics and the Rockets, but I'll go to the Celtics because we're talking about them.
Yeah.
Like fell off a cliff from downtown, and that's how they got there. That's how they got to the dance. So where's Boston? Boston 7 for 39 from 3 in this game 7.
Yeah.
This is how they played.
Like I don't think a team's really proven that just only living and dying by the 3 is gonna win it all for you.
There's only one. The first Warriors team. The first one.
But I do the same thing that I do with Kawhi with that Warriors team. You went against a LeBron James. Like
that doesn't change the fact that they won the championship. Like you asked, is there a team that's won jump shooting? And there is one team. That's it. But that's it. That's the only team besides it.
But I'm saying that this analytic shit is bullshit because it's not true. It's not like even if we say the war, I don't think that we should count that, but if we want to, that's the exception and not the rule, because we've shown over the last there's no rule, there's no way that like you don't see teams do that, and it's because it's so much easier to stop you from making a 3 than stopping you from doing it's when you're an all-around team, you're gonna win the game easier than if you're just focusing on just shooting a 3 because it's like, oh, analytics tell me if I make 40% of these, I'm gonna probably win the game.
2 things are 100% certain in almost every champion. Almost every champion. Yeah. Elite defense and elite ball movement. Almost every single champion. Very rarely is that an exception. But like usually the best teams that make it the farthest in these playoffs. Elite defenders or elite at moving the ball.
Yeah.
But
for the most part, I mean, there's only a couple teams.
You can name a couple. Yeah, I'm sure you could name a couple. But if we're going to go back to that original Warriors team, that's a big reason why they made it. It's because of those 2 things.
Yeah.
The ball movement and the defense. But
I agree.
Who you got in the Eastern Conference Finals? Miami's already up 1-0.
My mind is telling me Miami, and my heart is telling me Celtics. Only because of Jason Tatum, but I'm because I'd rather be right than be stupid. I think I'm gonna go with Miami, and I just hope that I'm wrong. In 6.
I wanna say Celtics in 6.
You said how many? Who and what?
Celtics in 6.
You got Celtics in 6?
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Fuck you guys. I got Heat in 6.
What are you talking about? That's you couldn't say fuck us. We both went opposite ways.
No, because I'm saying like I'm going with the Nuggets Heat championship.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
The Nuggets Heat championship is what's gonna happen. And if I'm wrong, sick. Lakers Celtics finals.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like I feel like the Lakers should rather face the Celtics and not the Heat. I feel like the Heat team is going to be more of a.
Wouldn't that be a poetic story if LeBron has to win the championship against Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, a guy who knows him like the back of his hand?
Oh man, that would be
like
dope.
That would be really interesting. I think
that would be super dope.
Yeah, and like that team's not pussy, so they're not gonna back down to the king. Yeah. I think if the Heat, this is my thing. if the Celtics make the finals, there's less fun stories. But if the Heat make the finals, you could come up with all kinds of different shit. Like even if it's Nuggets Celtics, it's just gonna be a lot of pass halfway down the court, 3.
Yeah.
Pass halfway down the court, another 3.
It's definitely not gonna feel as
super annoying.
Yeah, it's not gonna feel like a finals. I feel like and it's like maybe if Miami is there, it'll feel more like a finals. If that makes any sense, I just feel like you need the defense. Like you need to see that defensive intensity. Like that's what, like you always see that in at least one of the teams in the finals.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's what makes it so great is because you see like 2 like powerhouses who are great at defense, like going against each other and just figuring each other out.
True. All right. Well, that I think makes the preview, right? Did we miss anything? Anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
The only thing that I could think about is me saying I don't want to compare these players to all-time greats anymore. I feel like if I do that, I just get disappointed in them because it just doesn't make sense.
This goes back to my point. Either one of 2 things is true, my friend. Either as children, we put too much into the guys who were the guys at that point, or, which is what I think personally, but I'm totally fine if people think I'm wrong. I just think the people from back then were tougher and had a different mentality and just about shit than we do. And I say we because I'm included. Fucking.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was gonna be my point. Is you can't, like for me, you can't compare Kawhi and Kobe and Tatum and Kobe, even though they have similar games. You know, like they're taken from his game, but to have that killer mentality, like to have that extra shit, I think it's the way they're just brought up. Like you're brought up in a physical game, huh?
Yeah. Like even look at LeBron. He didn't have it. But it was with no exaggeration by people like Kevin Garnett and that team. It was beaten into him.
Yeah, exactly.
And these guys, he's going to be the only one that gets that because...
You don't think KD is another one?
Maybe. But
I could see it from KD a little bit.
KD, you know what? Actually, that's a good point. But he's another guy who kind of already had it in him. So doing
but it got beaten into it. He faced that Grizzly team like a lot. Like it definitely. I think it's similar. It's very similar to where they. Yeah, I like.
You know who would have been a good case if he had come through the adversity of all of it? Blake Griffin would have been a perfect case for something like that.
Yeah, without injury. I feel like injury was more of his issue then.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of like, that dude was getting scrutinized on television every fucking day for his game. Like Kevin Durant was getting scrutinized never for his game.
Yeah, it was more.
He's always getting scrutinized for everything else. The last thing people want to say about Kevin Durant is, "Oh, he didn't play that good," because almost never happens.
Yeah,
like he and that's what I mean by in terms of kill mentality, because he's such a natural scorer. I think he already had it, but most of these guys, I are not going to get this opportunity to have it beaten into them by like men. Also, because like this is a young man's league, so it's just a bunch of young guys play each other. Like if it's Heat Nuggets, the oldest guy in that series will probably be Jimmy Butler, and like he's barely 30. 31. He just turned 31.
How old is Millsap? Paul Millsap.
I got this.
Let me guess. 31.
It's probably something like that, right? He's definitely younger than we think. Paul Millsap. Oh, 1985.
1985. I'm alive. Something.
34 years old.
Oh, I was close.
So he's closer to LeBron's than I.
Yeah.
But still, it's a young man's game, and I just don't think. I don't know if these guys.
Yeah, and that's why I can't, because that's what I like. Remember, you a couple of months ago, you were telling me, like I don't understand why you don't love Kawhi. Why don't you like Kawhi more? Like he's literally playing like Kobe, and it's just not that. It's like I like Kobe's game, obviously, but it was everything, like the whole thing wrapped together, like just made it perfect.
Kawhi has the personality of a wet blanket.
Exactly.
Yeah, or at least he fucking puts that in front of the camera. Maybe the what a do baby Kawhi when he's rolling a blunt off camera with fucking maybe that guy's fire, but I never see that fucking guy in front of the camera.
Yeah, I know.
And
like
you know something? Maybe if he was like that more often, like if he just was like honest in front of the media, like when the media's talking to him about this series, he's like, listen, I didn't give up the ball for that stupid shit that he did over there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that.
Like people love that. People hate some people. Obviously people hate it.
Kobe getting older. That was the best part about Kobe getting older, is that he leaned more into that shit.
Yeah, for sure.
So much more authentic. Authenticity is, I love that shit.
Facts.
But this has been Apex Greatness. I'm Russell Broderick. That's Dario Albuquerque.
Wrong direction.
Fuck! This way is Dario Albuquerque.
There you go.
Off camera is a very popular Lindsay Lehman, and we are saying peace.